Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to Journey to Wholeness Radio on IntellectualRadio.com. My name is KJ Davis, and I am the founder and the owner of the Journey to Wholeness Center and this afternoon's host. As always, I would like to thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. Today's show is going to be a very interesting topic. And the reason that I am choosing to talk about this particular topic, well, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this topic is that this is a very good segue into a very important workshop that we're having tomorrow. This workshop is one that I will be hosting, and the topic of tomorrow's workshop at the Journey to Wholeness Center will be discovering your life's purpose. So that workshop is going to be tomorrow, November 19th at 11 a.m. So if you are an individual who is really trying to find your niche in the world today, especially with all of the turmoil, the sadness, the darkness, the depression that a lot of us are experiencing and not knowing exactly where we fit into all of this, and having a nudging or a calling, or feeling that there is a nudging or a calling or something that you need to be doing more of within your life, then that workshop is a must attend workshop, and that is discovering your life's purpose. So today's topic, who am I? The reason that that is a good segue or a precursor to tomorrow's workshop is because in order for us to be able to go deep into a place where we truly can understand our purpose, we must first get really clear about who we are and what makes us happy, what are our innate talents, abilities, skills. So we have to begin to explore those things. There are so many people who walk around without a true sense of purpose, without a true understanding of who they are. When you ask them the question, what makes you happy? Sometimes you're received with just this blank look because they really don't know what makes them happy, or they really don't know what they want to do. They can easily tell you what they don't want. I don't like my job. I don't like my career. I don't like my boss. I don't like where I'm at in my life. I feel like I should be in a different place in my life. So they can clearly articulate that, but they can't clearly articulate what that place is, what that goal is, what that objective is. I know I should be doing something more, but what is that more? So in order to get to that place where we can begin to cultivate what it is that we want more from ourselves, of ourselves, we have to begin to go and understand, who am I? At the core of who I am, not who I identify with, but who am I? Until we can really understand and go one layer deep within, we're going to be really hard pressed to really find out what makes us happy, or what is it that we have a passion for, or what do you want to do with your life? I ask people all the time, what's your passion? I don't know. I don't have a passion for anything. Or they understand what their passion is at a higher level. It's like, oh, well, I want to go into to healing, or I want to go into dance, or I want to go into theater. So they have a higher understanding of what it is they want to do, and then they quickly follow that up with the reasons they can't do it. I would love to be a dancer, but I would love to go into real estate, but I got to wait for the perfect opportunity. I got to wait for, I got to save more money. I got to, so it's just always something that you have to do, or you have to tell yourself that you have to do to get to this goal. And then things come up, and then years go by, and you still haven't attained or reached the goals and really been able to live out your true life's passion. So, who am I? So the reason, as I said before, that this topic is critical is because until you get to a place where you truly are able to discover who you are and what you are, that is the place that you will begin to open up to life's purpose. So let's talk about who am I, staying in that space. So the reason why it's so difficult or so challenging to find the true aspects of ourselves in terms of really being able to dig deep to discover who we are is because we spend the first half of our lives discovering who we are outside of ourselves as it relates to others. So because of the cycles that we go through in life is a huge learning experience. So we've been the first 1/4 of our lives during childhood and young adulthood, really just learning, just experiencing what the outside or the external world looks like. And then we begin to transition into a cycle of relationships, of understanding relationships and people outside of ourselves and how we relate to one another, how we relate to our environment, how we relate to our careers. So we spend quite a bit of time trying to cultivate, nurture, and understand relationships. And then the midst of understanding relationships and getting intimate with our likes, our dislikes, our wants, our needs, our desires, balancing all of those things with the conditions that the world has placed on us in terms of material gains, in terms of career gains, in terms of status and stature and power and control. So we spend about half of our lives, all the way up until about the age of between 38 and 40, we spend all of that time really learning about what our perceived intentions are, learning about who we perceive or we think ourselves to be. So with that becomes our identification with labels, with external labels. So during that first 38 years of life, you become a wife, a husband or a wife, or a teacher. You're an executive. You're a mother. You're a father. You're a pastor. So you begin to cultivate these thoughts, these ideas, and these belief systems all about who you think you are you know and you get really comfortable in that box of who you think you are, and who you think you are has to fall in line with a particular label. It has to fall in line with a status or something that you can externally relate to. And what ends up happening is between the ages of about 38 and 42, and if anybody currently, if you're out there listening and you're within this age bracket, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you are in your later 40s and on, you can recall back to that time period between 38 and 42, because everybody's experiences it is a major cycle or a shift in our perception in terms of us discovering that what we thought we were and what we cultivated ourselves to be is not who we really are. So this is a period where you begin to discover, um, I don't really like being married. This is a period where you discover, you know what, being a mom is great, but it's got to be more to me than being a mom. This is a period where you begin to discover and you ask yourself, is this it? Am I just destined to work at this job until I'm 70 years old? I'm not happy at this job. I'm not happy with this career. I'm not happy with the mundane routine of life. Is this it? So between those ages is really sometimes can be a really dark period where you begin to everything that you thought and believed was true about yourself and how you identified yourself, all of those things begin to kind of fall by the wayside, and you're starting to question things like, who am I really? What is my life's purpose? Why am I here on this planet at this time? Is it more to me? Is it more to life than just this experience that I'm having. So what comes along with that when you're in that place and you're in this cycle, as I said, between about the ages of 38 or 42, it could be very painful. It could be a very painful place where you realize that the person that you're married to, who you thought that you would grow old with, uh, you no longer feel stable or secure in that. You no longer feel that your marriage is for life or death. You begin to have wants and desires and needs within yourself that don't necessarily include your significant other or your partner. You begin to feel as if you're trapped, and you're trapped inside of this box. So between that time period can be really, really painful because you're beginning to awaken to the fact that there is more to you than the labels that you have identified yourself with. You begin to feel depressed. There's some darkness. There's some depression. You no longer enjoy life and the labels that are associated with this particular life that you have chosen to live. And as I said before, you realize that there's more to life, and then you begin to question yourself. You begin to question God. Once again, is this it for me? Am I just destined to work at this job and be at this place and be in this relationship? A lot of people are experiencing their children, growing up and moving away from them. So the children are becoming more independent and don't necessarily need them as much. So you really begin to question, wow, I've spent half of my life, all of this time, living outside of myself and creating this safe, comfortable space for myself and associating myself with all of these particular labels, but it just doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't fit anymore. The shoes are not as comfortable anymore, and you're ready for a change and a transition, and this change or transition is imminent, but you just don't know what it is, and you don't know how to find it. So when you get to that point, and once again, that's a bubble that completely bursts between the age of 30 to 42, what you're really experiencing is a transition, a movement to another place, into another cycle within your life. And the reason that it feels sometimes so dark and so depressing is because it is a mini death. It is a transition. You are mourning the person who you thought you were, and then you're beginning to awaken to something new. So it's a very, very challenging phase in your life, because while you're awakening to something new or something different, fear kicks in. And the reason that fear kicks in is because you don't know you. This is an unfamiliar person who you have not been able yet to get to know or to cultivate, because you've spent the first half of your life searching for you outside of you. Okay, so it's an uncomfortable feeling, and it's a fearful place because you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know how your relationships will change if you are able to really step into the real you. You don't know how people will respond to the new you. You don't know what there is on the other side. So what sets in is this deep state of fear. So, what tends to happen for most people, unfortunately, is that they stay stuck in that place of fear. They stay stuck in the idea of what could be versus the idea of how do I grow and transition into who I truly am. Okay. Some people will choose to stay stuck, and that's okay. They may not be willing or wanting to make a change, because with transition there is change. So they may not be ready or willing or wanting to move outside of their box. They may be perfectly comfortable in this box, as uncomfortable or as dysfunctional as that box may be. They may be okay with sitting there and just saying, you know what, I'm just okay with identifying myself with who I thought I was, and I can tolerate not being authentically me. I'll just tolerate it. I'll just get through this life tolerating and going along to get along. And that's okay. Some people do make that choice. And then there are others who the box becomes too small, it becomes too tight, and you just want to escape. But once again, you don't know what it is that you want to escape to. And that fear also brings about the fact that you don't necessarily want to do the work, because transition and change requires work. It will require you to begin to discover who you are, truly who you are outside of those labels. But first, you got to release those labels. You have to release that idea or that perception of thinking that you knew exactly who you were, but not feeling very comfortable in that particular space. So, and a lot of people don't want to do the work, because in doing the work, you tend to lose friends, you lose relationships. You may decide that, this relationship, as much as you love your husband or wife, it just doesn't fit for you anymore. So there's the fear there of losing people really close to you. And at this stage, you're also beginning to question a lot of your core beliefs, a lot of the belief systems that you grew up with. You begin to question them, and you say, you know what, it just really doesn't fit with my lifestyle, or it just really doesn't fit with where I feel strongly the direction that I need to go in. So those things are really scary, being transitioning to being able to identify with who you truly are at the core of who you are. So you must change, or fundamentally change, who you thought you were to what is now a very unfamiliar aspect of you. So to understand some of the behaviors that you tend to exhibit when you're in this place of transition and trying to understand at the core who you are, you begin to withdraw from normal social activities, the things that you used to do socially. You begin to question those things, or just not have a passion for doing them anymore. If you used to hang out all weekend, all night, every night during the weekend, after a while, you start to feel like it doesn't fit, or grows old. That's what I hear a lot of people saying. You know what? This is just really getting old, and I need to find more of who I am, because I'm tired of doing the same things over. You'll begin to feel this desire to be alone. You'll start saying no more. So if you're in this place and you're preparing yourself for this transition, you'll start paying attention and noticing that you start saying no to more. You stop caring so much about what other people think about you, or caring so much about how other people feel about you. You begin to start following your own inner voice and not the voice of others. You begin to redefine your life and establish new goals. So if you're engaging in these activities at this point in your life, that these are truly activities that are symbolizing your readiness and your willingness to transition to the next phase of your life. And within that phase, you begin to become authentically you. You begin to really focus on who you are outside of any fears and judgments from others. Okay? So I know many of you can probably relate, have gone through this, or you're currently experiencing this and going through this and not sure what's on the other side for you. But you do know that you are ready, whatever that transition looks like, that you're ready to take it on. So in discovering, and now that you're ready, you're going to start the process of truly discovering who you are at the core of who you are, not the surface, but the core of who you are. So how do you do that? What does that look like? What does it feel like? How do you navigate and begin to go within to discover who you are? The very first thing is that you have to be willing to let go of the old you. You have to stop engaging in patterns and behaviors that no longer serve you. If there are some things that you just don't feel comfortable with anymore and you stop doing it, just stay in that place and don't judge it. If there are people in your life that are still stuck, friends, spouses, if they're stuck and they're keeping you or holding you back from moving and growing and cultivating the real you, you have to let them go. And you have to have, and not that it's that easy, you just have to have the strength and the courage to say to yourself, this is not where I want to be. These behaviors are no longer serving me. These people are no longer in a place where they can support me and help me to cultivate or nurture my new path, my new changes, my new me. So, and that's tough, but that's the very first thing. If you're ready to open up to what's waiting on you on the other side, you have to be willing to let go of the old you. And that's where, for some people, that's where the buck stops. They're just not ready to grow up. They're just not ready to let go of that party scene, or that the ego part of them that has this pretense of importance. They're not ready to let it go. So that's where it stops right there. And unfortunately for those individuals, they'll never be able to really tap into who they really are and really be able to find their true happiness, their true creativity, their true purpose, their true passion, because they're stuck in ego and not ready or willing to let go of what no longer serves them. So that's the very first thing. You have to be willing to let go of the old you. The second thing, you have to be able to release the fear of the unknown. A lot of us are afraid of what's inside. A lot of us are afraid to really get to know ourselves because we have so many emotional issues, emotional blocks, fears that were cultivated in us at a very young age through our childhood. We have preconditioning that tells us that, we're not great, we're not powerful. Whatever passion you had, you need to let it go because you need to make a living. So we have all of these things bottled inside of us that we're just not ready to deal with or to face. Because in discovering who you are, you have to rid yourself of those that negative self-talk. You have to rid yourself of the negative conditioning that you have grown accustomed to, even if the negative conditioning is from you. So you have your ego self that tells you all the time, no, you can't do this. You're too old. You're too slow. Your time has come and passed. So you have all these limiting belief systems and limiting self-talk that you don't even want to hear it. You don't even want to go there to try to clear it. So that's the second thing. You have to release the fear of the unknown. So you have to be strong, you have to be bold, you have to be courageous, and being able to go within you, clear those blocks, and open up yourself to new possibilities. Open up yourself to that new life, that second chance, that opportunity to really be free. And that's what this is about. This is about being free, being happy, being creative, being authentically you, because that's who you are at the core of who you are. You are a bright, beautiful light, full of possibilities, full of creativity, full of love. And being able to open up to that is amazing. And some people spend an entire lifetime not being able to open up to the gifts and the joy that they have within themselves. They spend most of their time in the mundane day-to-day space that really doesn't serve them. Okay, so the first thing I said, you have to be willing to let go of the old you. And secondly, you have to release the fear of the unknown. What's on the other side is always, always better than the existence of being unhappy. The third thing you have to do to discover who you are is really journey to the center of you. You have to go on your own journey to you. and really discovering who you are. As I said before, your first half of your life, the things that you are discovering and learning are all things about your external environment, your external relationships, how you relate to other people, how you relate to the world. So it really isn't about you. So now is the opportunity you have to be able to go within and discover you, to discover what truly makes you happy, to discover what's your life's mission and purpose. In order to do that, you have to go to the center of you, which means meditation, being still and being comfortable with being still and listening to the direction and the guidance that your higher self gives to you. Sitting in contemplation. If meditation is something that you feel like you're not good at, you can't quiet your mind, just sit in quietness and just contemplate. Begin to think about, what is it that I want for me? What direction do I want to go into for me? Begin to cultivate a relationship with you. Eat alone, travel alone, date yourself, spend some time with yourself to get to know yourself. Many of us never do that because we allow life to get in the way. We allow the kids, the significant others, the job. It's just always something to do. We're always moving and shaking that we don't have an opportunity to just sit still with ourselves. And then a lot of us are fearful. They're once again so focused on the outward world. I know so many people say, I will never go and eat alone because I don't want people to look at me like, I'm lonely. I don't want people to judge me. So I'll never go and eat alone. I can never sit alone. I can never be alone. I would never go to a park by myself because I'm afraid people are going to be looking at me and saying stuff about me. So you have to release those fears and be able to cultivate a relationship with you. And we talked about this last week. Begin to tap into whatever your spiritual gifts and abilities are. Begin to tap into your talents. Begin to tap into your creativity. Begin to ask yourself, what am I really good at? You know, I know that I work, and I know that I communicate a lot at work, and I know that I'm able to organize things at work, but what else can I do? You know, and can I cultivate those same skills in my own business? Can I cultivate those same skills by being creative? And perhaps you have a love of art, or you have a love of music, or you have a love of just writing. Can I write a book? Can I write a novel? What is it that I would like to do? If there were and it's so funny, I just told my cousin this yesterday, is that if you didn't have to worry about money, if you didn't have to worry about time, if you had no outside forces or things influencing you, just take a pen and paper and write down, what would you like to do? What would you like to be? I always say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Even though you're growing up, even though you're grown, you're transitioning to a new you. So what does that look like for you? So take out a sheet of paper and write that down. What does that look like for you? Don't judge it. Don't come up with all of the reasons why you can't do it. I'm too old. I don't have the money. I can't go back to school. Let all of those negative belief systems and negative self-talk go away, and just get a sheet of paper and say, what is it truly that I can do that would make me happy? Okay? By transferring that energy onto that paper, you are creating that reality for you. And you're not allowing self-talk or limiting belief systems to change your course. So those are things that you can begin to do to really journey to the center of you. And then begin to do things specifically for you. We spend so much time always doing for others that we completely get lost in the shuffle. The more things that you begin to do for you, the more familiar you will become with that aspect of yourself that wants to experience joy, wants to experience happiness. So begin to do things specifically for you. So those are things that will help you journey to the center of you. So in discovering who you are, first, let go of the old you, release fears of the unknown. Thirdly, journey to the center of you by really getting to know who you are. And then the fourth thing, begin living out that personal truth. Live out the new, authentic you without fear, without judgment. Um, no labels, not attaching what it is that you're doing to labels, being able to stay in the moment and don't go backwards. So many times we get to a place and we say, well, I used to have this particular car and I used to have this business and I used to get paid and I used to, where we're constantly staying in the past. So we're not allowing ourselves to grow and to nurture ourselves and to love the new you that you're becoming. Maybe that hot car that you had in your 20s is just not, would not serve the new you right now. And so honor that growth within you. Honor the feeling within you that says, you know what, I'd rather travel, or I'd rather cultivate my creative gifts and abilities. I want to take a painting class. I want to take music lessons. I want to finally learn how to play the piano. So begin to just be in the moment of living that truth, whatever that truth is, and don't allow others to steal your joy. You have to stand in that truth, whatever it looks like. Stand in that truth. If it's a cooking class that you've always wanted to take, if it's cooking that you want to go into, start thinking about what it is that would truly make you happy. Don't focus on financial, don't focus on stability, don't focus on any of those things. Those things will come. The idea is that you're transitioning and you're shifting into a new you that doesn't require you to be in a state of lack or a state of sacrifice. Okay. So that was number 4. And the 5th one is now. So now that you have sought out your personal power, you're focused on your growth, you're focused on your happiness, you are authentically living your life for you, it is at that point that you're now able to begin to discover your life's purpose. So now you can make that transition to, okay, why am I here? You know, what is it that I am here to create? What is it that I'm here to cultivate? What is it that I'm here to nourish? What is my mission? And for those individuals who have gotten to that point of living out their purpose on purpose, now they can begin to teach others. So that's the ultimate. That is, you know, to be able to be in this place that you are living authentically you are living out your life's purpose on purpose, you're cultivating your mission, and now you're teaching others how to do the same. So that's pretty much how that journey and that transition works into discovering who you are. And I would challenge you all to begin that process, to begin that path. If you are, and some people can cultivate and are very clear. They come here at an early age with life's purpose, so they have other things to work out. But for many of us, as I said, you know, past 40 is where, you know, we're off to the races, and we really should be truly living out our authentic true selves. And if you're not, then you have to pause and begin to cultivate what that means to you, or not. But if you don't, understanding that, you know, it could be some really dark times or some really confusing times, because being stuck in the box can get to be really uncomfortable, and you want to break out of that box. And we need you to. This planet needs everyone to be living out their passion, living out their mission, and living out their purpose. There's no such thing as, you know, the universe wanting you to just exist. Okay. And if you're in a place where you're just existing, please know that you can do something differently to change that narrative. You can do something differently to really create the life and the experience that you want to have. So that's all I have for this afternoon. And with that said, as always, I want you all to log on to the website, journeytowholeness.org. Check out some of our events and our workshops. We're having tomorrow, as I said, come to the center and come hear me in person as I do the workshop on discovering your life's purpose. What I'm going to do is give to you a lot of tools and techniques that you can take with you to begin to open up to your life's purpose and your mission. So that's tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the Journey to Wholeness Center, 9501 New England in Oakland. At 1 p.m., we're going to have an amazing Egyptian belly dance class. Please come one, come all to experience this young lady who has cultivated her mission and her purpose into an Egyptian belly dance troupe. And she's been doing this for over 30 years. So she is amazing. So that's tomorrow at the center at 1 o'clock, our Egyptian belly dance class. And then at 3 p.m., we're going to do an amazing Reiki share. So if you've heard of Reiki, and I know you have if you tune into our show, that is just simply energy healing. So we're going to have a free Reiki share where you can learn more about Reiki and actually share in that wonderful, amazing energy. So those are all the things we have going on tomorrow, Saturday, on Sunday at 9 a.m. Beginners Yoga Workshop at 11:30. We're having a free guided meditation. And then at 12:30, we're having a workshop on zodiac and crystals. So as you guys can see every week, if you're tuned in to Facebook Live, I always have on a crystal. So what we're going to talk about 12:30 tomorrow is just how those crystals interact with your particular zodiac signs. So it's going to be a really fun workshop and fun weekend this weekend. So as always, thank you for tuning in to Journey to Wholeness Radio on IntellectualRadio.com. Come see me tomorrow, Discover Your Life's Purpose workshop. I want all of you all to have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye.